video tutorial on the D major scale in the third position. This is a 2-octave scale, and as always I will also show you how to play the matching arpeggio. At the end I'll also show you some helpful tricks to help you improve your pitch through this scale, so make sure you stick around to the end. If you're already subscribed, welcome back to Violin with Catherine. If you're new here, I make new helpful videos every week for learning violin, so make sure you subscribe down below and hit the bell as well. For the D major scale in third position, we will be using the open hand shape for the lower octave and the high hand shape for the upper octave. If you haven't heard my explanation on these hand shapes, I highly recommend you check out my video series over here of all the scales in the first position, where I explain how we can learn simply using hand shapes or finger patterns. So to play our D major scale in third position, the first thing we need to do is to find our D in third position. We will do this by shifting up from the first position to the third. For a full tutorial on how to shift from first to third position, check out this video over here. The D major scale has two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. For our third position scale, we begin with our second finger on the G string playing D, climbing a whole tone up to E, a whole tone up to F sharp with our fourth finger. The first finger then is a whole tone back from the second finger, making our G. This means we are using our open hand shape. We continue on with this hand shape for the rest of the first octave, climbing up 1, 2, 3 and 4 up to the next D, our first finger on the A string. The scale continues on from the first finger D on the A string, climbing a whole tone up to E, a whole tone up to F sharp, and then a semitone to our fourth finger G. So we will be using a high 3 and a fourth finger together. Continuing on with our first finger on the E string for A, climbing up with the high shape 1, 2, 3 and 4 to finish on our top D. For this scale, we will begin on our second finger. So we want to find our second finger D position on the G string. This is the exact same D as our D string D. So we're going to use that to help us find our correct pitch. To start off with, we can climb up with a nice M shape. So our second finger is on B and our fourth finger is on D. And you can check that with your open D string to make sure you're in tune. Then we will slide up from on our second finger up to our third position D. And when you get there, you can make sure that your D is in tune by checking it with your open D string. From here, we will climb up with our open hand shape for the first octave. Our second octave, we'll use the high hand shape. For our arpeggios, it's nice to learn the arpeggio patterns in groups of 3. So the fingering will be 2, 4, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. Back down the same, 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, 2. Coming up next, extra tricks to improve your pitch. Does this method of finger patterns or hand shapes make it easier for you to learn your scales? Make sure you let me know in the comments down below and hit the like button. You can also support me on Patreon or Ko-fi. Click on the links in the description below to find out how. So to find our third position, we already know that we can check our D, second finger D, with our open D string to make sure that the pitch is accurate. You can play those together as a double stop. If they're not quite right, you will hear it won't be matching beautifully. There other notes that we can also match with open strings as we're going up the scale. So this is D, E, F sharp, and the next note is G. You can check that with your open G string. Of course, these two are 1 octave apart, but you will still hear, if it's not accurate, it won't sound very nice together. The next note is A, which you can match the pitch with your open A string. As you're continuing up the scale, the next note that you can match will be your first finger on the A string, which is D. You can match that with your open D string, and your second finger plays E, which is the same as your open E string. So these are great markers while you're playing through your scale to stop and check that your pitch is accurate. Thanks for joining me here today, guys. Make sure if you haven't subscribed, you do so right now down below, because that will help me to continue making helpful videos like this one. I'll see you next time.